My name is Sage Pineda, and my degree was in the Social Justice Studies program. And I'm also in the Accelerated Masters in the Social Justice and Community Organizing program as well. So I worked with a team of basically 10 students, faculty, staff, and people from other colleges to organize a 3-day teach-in on Palestine and Israel with the intention that we would create a learning space where differing perspectives could coexist and people could have a conversation where their thinking was challenged and their thinking was expanded without engaging with like cancel culture, right or wrong kind of binaries. There was 4 sessions over the course of 3 days with over 150 people total. And our first workshop was, the best way to explain it is an immersive history workshop. So through a series of short, small stories from the last century of history in Palestine and Israel, we embodied characters of these stories and then were asked to make decisions based on the context that we were given. And the idea of that was to humanize the history so that it wasn't as abstract and up here existing like colonialism, neocolonialism, like crazy war, violence happening, like bring it into our bodies, bring it into personal stories. And then the next day we had a literacy analysis workshop where we learned to analyze and read news narratives. And our speaker spoke more about the joy and resilience of Palestinian people despite occupation. So it's this powerful space of thinking about like the way that our own beliefs and socialization impact the blind spots that we have, but also looking at it through the lens of news so we can better like interpret news. Then our third session was a keynote speech by Dr. Mohammed Ajani, who's a Jerusalem-born peace activist who spoke to us on the values of peace and moderation and conflict resolution and his vision for a way out of this cycle of violence. And our final session of the 3 days was a culmination of all of our speakers coming together with an addition of Matthew DeMau from George Washington University, who spoke on Palestinian refugees. We had Dr. Todd Miller, who spoke on the border industrial complex. He's also Prescott College adjunct faculty. We had Dr. Nancy Koppelman, who's a professor of Jewish history at Evergreen College. And then we had Dr. April Hoffman and Dr. Serene Saadeh from the Social Justice and Community Organizing program. And it was just this like beautiful space where we could ask lingering questions that we had. We had this delicious meal provided by some students interested in food justice. And so it was a space to like bring together all of our learning of the past few days, ground it, like continue deepening our analysis, but also like picking at the little corners. And it's fantastic. And then it was over. Yeah. What really sticks out to me in terms of why this project was important in our current moment is that our political reality forces us to reduce our beliefs into binaries. And it creates this really complex cultural thing that happens where either you're like right or you're wrong and there's no space for conversation about things, or there's no space for people to even learn or admit that they don't know about something and admit that they're a student about something. So I think our intention of the project was to like combat polarization and dehumanization through creating this space where people could actually engage in the ways that we just named without being canceled, or like they could show up not knowing and feel great about that, like knowing that their curiosity was an act of bravery. And so I think that form of solidarity, especially for Palestinian and Israeli people that are really hurting right now, those kind of like coalition building conversations are just so incredibly powerful. Yeah. I think the last thing I would say is I think in a broader scope as an institution, we demonstrated that liberal arts colleges can be a place to engage in really difficult conversations about global issues, not to reinforce our thinking necessarily, but to actually change it and expand it and be exposed to how other people's brains are thinking about different issues. Yeah.